Hello out there in YouTube land, and welcome to another episode of Mo and Joe.
Hello.
And we're going to do another movie review. And actually what we're going to do today is I'm going to handle the chore of reviewing the new Dawn of the Apes movie. And Joe is going to do the review of the Lucy movie with Morgan Freeman. So I'm going to start off my view of, or my opinion of Dawn of the Apes. Let me just start off by saying this. After sitting in the theater after it was over, my body was still there, but my mind had left the building a long time earlier. I went into zombie mode after 15 minutes because to me, and this is just personally my look at movies, it's kind of like music. It has to have a good storyline. You know, you can have the best actors in the world, but if your script is flat, it ain't going anywhere. And unfortunately, it's the same recycled storylines that you've seen 100 times before. I understand now why they say that the 40s and the 50s was the golden era of movies, because those guys wrote original scripts. Now with these, majority of these movie writers in Hollywood are just recycling old stuff. You know, there's nothing original. It doesn't catch you off guard like the old, Alfred Hitchcock type of movies or whatever. You didn't know what was going to happen, but it happened and caught you off guard. These movies here, you can see the plot or the ending a mile away before you even get to the point of the end of the show. But basically, the premise of the movie was, and I think this is the second or third installment, because the first one was with the small character, Caesar. He was a small baby, and the humans raised him. And I think there was another movie then this one, I believe. But basically, the storyline is, it's set years later. There was a virus that wiped out most of humanity, and it was just a handful of humans or groups of humans throughout the world, and they were isolated from each other. And this particular group, they were trying to get to this dam to get some electricity, but they had to go through quote-unquote ape turf, and the apes wasn't having it. The apes was like, go, we don't want you over here. So they convinced the apes to let them go in there and do their business. And the leader, Caesar, has a soft spot in his heart for the humans because, they took care of him when he was a baby. But the second guy in charge, didn't trust the humans. And it's always this scenario, whether it's animal versus man or man versus man. There's the leaders who have a sense of dignity, and they're trying to do the right things, but these other people in the camp that wants to be the second guy who wants to be the first guy. So they throw a monkey wrench in the plans of the leaders to try to throw them off to set their agenda. And this is no exception. It's the same thing. The humans had a couple of spoilers in the group that, when the leader wasn't looking, they were trying to sway the other people to go his way. And the same thing with the apes. The apes had a secondary guy, and the secondary guy shot the leader and blamed it on the dumb humans. So then they went to war. That was the reason for them to go kick some human butt. And it was just really just a recycled story that you've seen 100 times before. So, don't waste your money on this one, Don't waste your money.
Cowboys and Indians, Africans and the white man.
Yeah, so turn it over to Joe and give your insight on the Morgan Freeman movie.
The Morgan Freeman movie, it reminds me of the 60s, number one, because Morgan and I are almost from the same generation.
And most people, if I could just interject right quickly, he started off with the electric company in Chicago.
Yeah, he did.
Back in the 70s.
And the movie reminded me of those LSD days. I think that's where he got the preface of the movies from. It had some action in it, not too much.
So tell us about the storyline. What was it about?
The storyline is about a synthetic drug to expand the mind, but the bad guys wanted to use this drug as a recreational drug, and they accidentally overdosed a young lady on the drug, and she began to develop powers, mental powers to manipulate space and time and matter. And she went through it. She went through this transition, and she collects all the drug that they had to take it away from them, and she ends up consuming all the pounds of this stuff, and she goes through a metamorphosis into she goes into a lost her physical being and went into a mental state, almost godlike. You know, the story is derivative of the Lucy. The name Lucy comes from one of the oldest human-like human beings, fossils being found. Lucy, I think the skeleton was 100,000 years old, 200,000 years old, or half, something like that. I forget. That's where they get the name from. They named the skull Lucy, the first woman, and they found it in Africa. And she goes through this metamorphosis where she turns into pure energy, and it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Okay. I enjoyed it. You know, it could have been. I don't know, I can't think of the word for that.
Okay, well, let me give my final analysis of Dawn of the Apes. Like I said, don't waste your money on this one. You've seen this movie 100 times before. And like I said, 5 minutes into the theater, sitting there, my mind went somewhere else because, you know, it just didn't keep me attached or drawn in to keep me watching, because it's the same recycled stuff over and over and over again. So yeah. I give it thumbs down, Dawn of the Apes. What is your? I give
man's thumbs up. You know, it needs to be. I think the storyline should be more developed. You know.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a.
Okay. Well, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
You already gave me your analysis. Okay. So on that note, we're going to sign off, and we're going to do another show, but we don't know quite sure what we're going to review next time. But stay tuned. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to our channel, The Movie Show. I'm Mo, and he's Joe.
And I'm Joe.
Until next time, take care.